Hello, good morning. We're here on Reevesby Island. It was pretty windy last night. It was up to 30 knots of wind, but we managed to be pretty still. It was coming at our nose instead of rocking us, so had a pretty decent sleep. It's another cloudy and overcast day. Tyler is tying up the tender, little chook. We were going to just let it trail today because we've got a short day, but there's some white caps out where we're going to be sailing, so we thought it best just to tie it up properly. So we're going to be heading out 5 miles to go to Blythe Island, which is where there's sea lions that apparently we're just very familiar with people. So we're going to go there and hopefully be able to, it warms up and we can go in and have a swim. And then we're going to be going to Spilsby for the evening before we head off to KI the following day via West Cape. But we're having a good time. We'll bring you the scoop of the Joseph Bank Islands group.
Had a few kids, bought a new house, promised you heaven, but it never did work out.
How long have we been on the move, mate?
Maybe 40 minutes.
No way!
We started getting the anchor up at 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, it started getting the anchor up. That's a bloody ordeal. How long have we been on the move?
Maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, there we go. Bloody propaganda, you. And we are already nearly there. That little island in the distance. We didn't even bother getting the sails up because the wind is on our nose, and it's a 30-minute maneuver, not a sail, a 30-minute motor. I'm not used to things being this short. Our shortest sails are about 5 hours. I hope that there's sea lions there.
There in the moment, in my white dress, an overwhelming second of regret. You're driving on a freeway with no exit signs, losing control and speeding faster than light. All this time I waited for a season where everything felt right, and all the different phases and the reasons to make it all worthwhile. My best kept secret is I never loved you quite enough.
I'm a bit nervous that they're going to attack us, but we've heard a myth that they're not friendly. Let's watch and see what happens. We missed it, but they came and bloody ran up to us. Hello! How do you summon seals? There's all this weed, so Tyler's pulling the tender through it onto the beach. Need to watch my footing. Hello. Hello. get too close and freak them out. They seem pretty familiar. Wants to join the party. Hello. They're curious. So are we. Come little children, I'll take you away into my magical garden. What movie? We're gonna go for a bit of an explore, but they're hanging out awfully close to the tender and we're wondering whether they're going to sneak on while we go up these dunes.
Cheers from Stormy Boy.
Yeah, we didn't read about this anywhere. We bumped into a boat that we've kind of been following the same path together. Oh, look at this guy run! And she told us about it, so thanks Dee from Stormy Boy. Dead set legend. Sand so white it makes me look tan. We're just coming around and we can see Jenny. What was that, 15 minutes? So we Diddy Island. I'll come down with you. I've had a morning. Tyler reckons they should be called. So they just look like little sea dogs. Oh, it's fresh. I don't like the look of that big fellow. We've just left Blythe Island and we're about to pass through two smaller little islands on our way to Spilsby for the afternoon. Blythe was incredible, those sea lions, we can't get over it, that was really, really special. And Blythe is a little town close to where I used to teach near Balaclava, Blythe Cats. I have a dear friend who's a decent footy player out there. I would never say that to his face. So Blythe is a little town close to where I used to live for years and years in Balaclava, and we're just about to pass through Roxby Island. And Tyler lived in Roxby for 10 years, a little town in South Australia, didn't you?
10 years, yeah.
My sweet.
Being a mining man up there, 10 years.
Yeah.
Getting away with a lot.
And one of my best mates' last name is Roxby, so it's a day of a personal meaning, and we're loving ourselves sick for it. We're on Spilsby Island. We got in just this afternoon. It's a private island and there are a bunch of houses up ahead that we're going to go take a little poke at. We're not really sure if we are allowed to walk along the beachfront because it's a private island, but there's no one to ask for permission from, so we'll ask for forgiveness if we have to.
For the astute of you guys out there, you might be able to recognise what we have anchored in here, and it is a whole bunch of weed. Now that rears its ugly head later on in this video, so keep an eye out for the issues that we had and what it resulted in for us.
Blue sky, take me on your treasure dive. I've got nothing to lose after years with the blues. Oh.
I was requested by the organiser of a footy trip for a nickname to put on my shirt. I got that message while I was recovering from a knee operation. Had morphine up to the eyeballs. So, my nickname's Woodsy or Wood Duck, and some people call me Le Duck, or Rags. So I went for put on my shirt, Le Duck or King of the Universe. You pick. And I didn't think he'd put both on there. Noida.
It's the colour of my hair. Hello, good evening, and welcome to another chapter or installment of a segment that I have called in my head Never Not Cooking or Never Not Eating for Tyler when I serve it to him. So I'm going to be making Thai green curry tonight, but I just wanted to do a bit of an intro spiel about it because I've been cooking for many, many years all over the world. So I'm going to talk a bit about the ingredients that I'm using and why they're superior, and a bit of a backstory. So the curry paste that I get is just from the supermarket. It's heaps accessible. Coles stocks it, but all Asian grocers do as well. And it's the May Ploy brand. So they do this in red, yellow, massaman, all different types of curries. It's really inexpensive and very accessible. But I started cooking this in uni when I was on my placement for my first teaching prac out in a little country town, and I've travelled a lot over the last 10 years, and I really enjoy making the curry wherever I go because wherever I go I can find it. So I've done a teaching exchange in Canada and travelled all over the States backpacking and living in hostels, and I was a tour guide in Europe for a little while, for a year, and then I lived in Ireland and was pouring pints at a pub for a year, so on and off between coming back to Australia to teach. But whenever I'm overseas and travelling and I can track down these curry pastes, it just makes me feel like I'm at home a little bit, and eating this makes me feel transported to home, and it's a nice little treat when I'm feeling a bit homesick. This little Australian girl eating Thai green curry. So I use 2 Thai green curry packets for this one because I'm cooking it for Tyler and I, and it's actually enough for 4 people. But this is really, really good. I add some extra things, but if you don't have any of the additional things that I'm going to put in, this on its own is absolutely stunning. So I use the Maple brand sachets for the curry paste, and I use AM coconut cream. Typically when I make this, I use chicken thigh, and I cook it down for a long time, the chicken thigh in the coconut cream, and all the fat kind of comes away from the chicken thigh, and that and the real rich creaminess of the coconut cream make for a really like thick and glossy and just really scrumptious curry altogether. But we're a little bit short of accessibility where I stocked up and did the last provisioning. So while I have these, I don't have thighs, I have breasts today. I was able to find some lime leaves, so some kaffir lime leaves I always chuck in. Again, these have become really accessible. When I was really obsessed with making this and I'd moved to a small country town to teach for the first time, my roommate who was there, who barely ever left town, he left maybe once a year to go to Adelaide in the city, and I started making this for him. And it was too hot. He would add sour cream rather than Greek yogurt. It was too hot in the beginning, and then he became really obsessed with it, and he bought me a kaffir lime leaf tree for my birthday. And then when I moved away, I gave it to him to look after the first time, and he's refused to give it back to me. And so it's been about 9 years since then. Hey Scotty, the last phone call that we had before I left home, he was excited. He sent me a text and said they're making babies, and sent me pictures of the lime leaves. Still refuses to give it back, but says we have joint custody. But you can get kaffir lime leaves in mainstream supermarkets now, otherwise you're Asian grocer. And the last thing that I add is Thai basil usually. So I normally have Thai basil. I don't know why I'm grabbing this right now. Thai basil, it's got like purple leaves letting through it, and it smells a little bit more aniseedy. I couldn't get that anywhere, so I've just used sweet basil, and I'll add that in at the very end. But that's pretty much it. I'll use some bamboo slices as well if you want to look at that. But that's the basis of it, and that's a little backstory of it. So I'll get to cooking, and I'll show you the finished product as we go. Hey Scotty, and Ash, who I always cook it with, and Hannah, who introduced me to it many, many moons ago.
Tell you everything I've seen, the friends I've made, and then you tell me how you've been. Look a little closer, it's been quite some time, but you gotta let me know if I'm out of line. But there's some words that I just wanna hear you say, put it all straight before this night turns into day.
So we're taking the leaves out. Don't eat them. Eat the basil, not the leaves.
Correct. Delicious.
You have to say it.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. I don't know if you can see me. The anchor dragged.
What's that?
Just recording. The anchor dragged. It did twice this afternoon, and it was fine. We're just going to go find another sandy bit to try and anchor in. And then the whole anchor engine mechanism came off of its hinges, essentially, completely crumbled. We had to hand pull the anchor up, and now we're legging it back to Lincoln before it gets even darker, because we can't risk anchoring somewhere random and then it dragging again in the middle of the night.
This is pretty much what we've got to look forward to for the next 3 hours.
This weather,
Yeah.
yeah, manageable. It's just after 1. We've just got into the Port Lincoln Marina. Managed to tie off in the visitor's berth. We were just dodging fish farms the whole way. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to see them, but they ended up being lit up, but we didn't know what they were at first, so it took a while. The weather was pretty good. Just a bit rough to begin. We had some spills. I've just started to clean up the vinegar spill. I could smell it the whole trip in, but we got in.
I need to get access to this, and I think I need to do it through the bedroom. Are you filming me?
Just this.
So, we can't re-secure this as is, because you can see here those bolt holes have just sheared off, have just corroded off. It's just a corrosive mess in there, salt water build up or something.
That's what all this is.
Well, this is all old Sikaflex, I think. Silicon.
So that's what ripped off last night.
Yeah. So what you just saw was me working on the windlass, the anchor windlass motor. What we found out was the corrosion was significant enough that we couldn't really do a bodge job to put it back together. So essentially what we decided was to make our way back to Adelaide without a windlass. We knew that there was only going to be a couple of stops where we were going to use the anchor because of Edithburgh, and then ultimately being in a marina back in Adelaide. So we thought we'd test it out at the beach in the front of the town in Port Lincoln. We figured if we could get the anchor up there, we could get it up anywhere because it's sand over clay and it beds in pretty heavy there. So we were pretty confident after we got it up there that we'd be able to make our way back. Yeah, and that's how we made our way back. Cut to the next episode and you'll see us pulling into Adelaide and hanging around Adelaide for the next 3 weeks.
It felt pretty shitty again because we had already turned back. We weren't crossing the Bight and we were trying to make the best of our remaining trip, and we were going to go to KI and then take our time coming up the coast back into Adelaide. And we got 1 day. We were only overnight for 1 night, and then the anchor broke as we had finished having our curry, settling down for the night, and we felt it dragging again, and then the anchor motor broke off of its hold, the windlass as everyone calls it. And so it was just another kick to the guts. But we just got our stuff together and regrouped in Lincoln for the 3rd time and then went home.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much Lincoln natives now, Lincoln locals. But got back to Adelaide and started Plan B, or Plan C at that point.
Which we're on right now.
Yep, which we're on right now.
We're in Perth and making our way around, so it's not so bad in the end.
No, we got there.
Keep watching. Remember to subscribe and like, hit the bell down below.
And buy all the
Merchandise.
You!
So tune in next week, guys, as we get back to Adelaide for 3 much-needed weeks of decompression. We catch up with mates, we see some fringe festivals before we head out on Plan B, hit the road and head to WA. So please subscribe, hit that notification bell and give us a thumbs up. Leave some comments to let us know what you're all about and how you're enjoying our journey so far. Remember, our merchandise store is up and running on Shopify, so hit that link below and then you can get your very own Never Not Sailing merchandise and be like these 2 cool kids in the videos. We'll see you next week.